Hello everyone, my name is Miss Gillin. For those of you who don't know me, welcome back. Today we are going to be focusing on lesson 3 of the paper 2 Evolving Media radio unit, and this lesson is going to be mainly about context. So in today's lesson we are going to focus on how political, cultural and economic factors all affect Radio 1's breakfast show. So in order to give you a bit of an insight into what you are working towards, I thought I would include an example of a question that you might see on your exam. Okay, so explain why popular music radio programs struggle to gain recognition as public service broadcasting. Refer to the BBC Radio 1 breakfast show to support your answer. In your answer, you must also explain how political, cultural and economic contexts influence the status of popular music radio programming. And as we know, this is worth 15 marks and you should spend approximately 25 minutes on this. So, what do we need to answer this question correctly? Okay, we are going to say yes to knowledge and understanding of public service broadcasting and how it fits in the radio industry as a whole, the political, cultural and economic factors affecting radio programming. We are going to say no to analysing the media language used in the programme or applying media theory. Okay, so the question asks how 3 other factors affect the status of public service broadcasting. So as we have mentioned, okay, we're going to be looking at the political, cultural and economic factors that affect public service broadcasting. So what you need to know is how each of these factors affect Radio 1's breakfast show. So remember, we have our macro and our micro, and we have Radio 1 as our micro. So in order to make sure that you are making notes as effectively as possible, you might want to use this grid, okay? So on the left-hand side, we've got cultural context, political context, and economic context, okay? At the top, we have how this relates to Radio 1 breakfast show, okay? So we have the institution, and then we have how this relates to Radio 1 breakfast show audiences, okay? So we have all our information in key facts and figures in the correct place, okay? You might want to print this off, or you might just want to draw this yourself, but this is a really effective way of ordering your notes. So let's start with a little bit of a Radio 1 breakfast show overview, okay? It runs weekdays Monday to Thursday, presently from 7 a.m. until 10 a.m. This has recently shifted from 6 a.m. To 10 as more people are now working from home, okay, due to the current circumstances with COVID-19. It has been running since 1967 and it is currently hosted by Greg James, who took over from Nick Grimshaw. He is the 16th presenter and took on the role in 2018, okay, so fairly recent. Have you ever listened to the Radio 1 breakfast show? If not, why not? Well, the answer should be yes, you have listened to the Radio 1 breakfast show as you have completed your audit and the previous lessons. So if you had to summarise the show in a number of keywords, what would they be? Okay, I'd like you to pause this video and spend about a minute or so just thinking about the key adjectives that would describe this breakfast show. Right, everybody, welcome back. Okay, so hopefully you've come up with a number of adjectives, and I just want you to think about, as we continue throughout this lesson, how they link to the PSB, okay, so this idea that Radio 1 breakfast show is a part of the public service broadcast. So guys, what I would like you to do is watch this link, okay? This is a video from Greg James's first Radio 1 breakfast show, okay? And I want you to think about what is the most important aspect from this clip, okay? And think about, okay, how this links to the audience being at the heart of the show, okay? So pause this video. The clip is only about 2 minutes or so, and think about how this links to how the audience are at the heart of the show. So guys, welcome back, okay? Hopefully you've had some time to think about this. For me, I would say that perhaps the most important part of this is when Greg James asks the users to choose his first song, okay? He ultimately decides to go with Levels by Avicii, okay? Not a bad choice for his first song on his breakfast show. But this really shows how Greg James is exploiting the Web 2.0 and audience interactivity to promote his show. Okay, and remember that Web 2.0 is the term used to describe a variety of websites and applications that allow anyone to create and share online information or material they have created. Okay, so it's really showing that close relationship that he has with the audience and really getting the audience involved within his show right from the onset. So guys, what I would like you to do now is to read the following article and answer the following questions, okay? This activity should take you about 5 minutes or so. So I want you to think about and make notes how many people listen to the Radio 1 breakfast show, how many new listeners have tuned in since he started presenting, how old is Greg James and why might this be significant? How did Greg James reveal his delight at the audience figures? And who does Greg James put the success of the show down to? And finally, what is Bob Shannon, director of BBC Radio and Music, particularly pleased with? So 5 minutes or so to complete this activity. Right guys, welcome back. Okay, so hopefully you managed to get the right answers down. If you didn't, okay, I would like you to copy these facts and statistics down into your notes, okay? So how many people listen to the Radio 1 breakfast show? 5.19 million weekly listeners, okay? So they have a very, very loyal fan base. How many new listeners have tuned in since he started presenting? Okay, 300,000. Okay, so there's been a huge increase in people tuning in to listen to Greg James specifically. How old is Greg James? Okay, 33. Okay, slightly over the target audience of Radio 1. But this very much reflects, okay, Radio 1's mission to target young listeners like yourself. How did Greg James reveal his delight at the audience figures? Okay, he used Instagram, okay, a social media platform which is very popular amongst young adults, okay, and sort of 15 to 30-year-old demographic. Who does Greg James put the success of the show down to? Okay, the audience. Once again, very much reinforcing the public service broadcasting mission, okay, of the BBC. And who is Bob Shannon, director, that should say, of BBC Radio and Music, particularly pleased with, okay? He's particularly pleased with the show's popularity on YouTube, social media, and BBC Sounds, okay? So the idea that this is crossing over onto multiple platforms. So guys, if you don't have these facts and statistics down already, okay, you should be making notes of them. I'll give you a few moments to do that. These facts and statistics are going to be really, really helpful when it comes to thinking about how to respond to the exam questions. Right, guys, okay, next I would like you to have a read of this article, okay? This article very much suggests, okay, that audience figures are fluid, okay? They can change all the time. So, pause this video and have a read of this article. It should only take you about a few minutes or so, and I would like you to make some notes on what this article suggests, okay? So pause this video and I will speak to you shortly. So guys, the key question, what do the most recent figures suggest, okay? Greg James's breakfast show on BBC Radio 1 was the only station of the top 7 to experience growth over the quarter, okay? It was up by 1.3% to 4.9 million, okay? However, the show's reach dropped by negative 3.4% over the year, okay? Which shows how fluid this is, okay, and how the audience figures can be constantly changing. So, when we're thinking about what makes Radio 1 so successful, Radio 1 breakfast show so successful, okay, a number of things come into play, okay? So I want you to think about, what do you think is the most significant? Is it the audience interaction, the great presenter, okay, the very charismatic and quite funny Greg James? Is it the BBC platform? The interaction away from radio, okay, so the way in which it engaged with its listeners through YouTube, social media. Is it the good music, okay, this idea that this radio show very much acts as a platform for new and emerging British artists? Is it its interesting guests? And we're going to see a little bit of Sam Fender in a second. Or is it Newsbeat? Or is it anything else based upon what you have listened to? Okay, so I would like you to answer this question on your blogs. Okay, just write a few sentences which answers the question of what makes Radio 1 Breakfast Show so successful. So I mentioned before, we're going to see a little bit from Sam Fender, okay? This might be something that you have seen already. What's My Age Again with Greg James, okay? So this video is only a few minutes long. Actually, I think it's about 6 minutes long. But I would like you to have a watch of this and think about, okay, how this might appeal to the audience. And just think about what this says about Radio 1 Breakfast Show. Okay, as a show, what kind of values is this illustrating about this breakfast show? So guys, finally, to finish this off, okay, I want you to complete this quick quiz, okay? These answers are very much your non-negotiables, okay? These are all bits of information that you should know, which will help you with your study of Radio 1 and Radio 1 Breakfast Show, okay? So in the final 5 minutes or so of the lesson, I would like you to answer these questions. Number 1, what are the Ruthian values of the BBC? What is the audience for Radio 1? How much is the licence fee? How many people listen to Radio 1 per week? And what should Radio 1 be doing as a PSB? Okay, so pause this video and answer the following questions. Right guys, hopefully you got 5 out of 5, but if you didn't, okay, here are the answers. So number 1, okay, the Ruthian values of the BBC are to, of course, inform, educate and entertain. The audience for Radio 1 is 15 to 29-year-olds. How much is the licence fee? That is £154 and not forgetting 40 pence. And how many people listen to Radio 1 per week? This is 4.9 million, okay? This was up to 5.9 million in December 2019. And what should Radio 1 be doing as a PSB? Okay, it should be providing impartial news and information, education, high quality distinctive programmes, reflecting, representing and serving all communities across Britain, supporting creative industries and reflecting the UK and its values to the world.